I don't know if I've had that.
Again, tell me you're from Minnesota without telling me you're from Minnesota. What? All these good, delicious, savory foods? I've never tried them. We just eat plain potatoes.
There were a lot
and dry
of
turkey.
There were a lot of culinary dishes that I got
Titus, what are your
introduced
favorite
to.
spices? Salt and pepper. Come on, get out of here. Yes, absolutely. That's incredible.
I've never had that. Welcome back. We are back with Chapel Chat. We could call this session 2. It's our Navigating the Holidays special. Pastor Chris, how are you feeling about being back?
Really good. I think my mom and your mom would probably really miss this.
Yeah, I know for a fact my mom has missed it. And my brothers and my dad have missed making fun of the little nuanced things that I do while I'm recording this
They
podcast.
only do that for the podcast? They don't do that?
Well, no, that's just another opportunity.
I'll start texting them.
It's just another opportunity for them to make fun of me.
Good.
Which is going to be great because they're going to all be together to make fun of me because this is our Thanksgiving episode. We're kicking it off with a Thanksgiving episode on gratitude. And we understand as you're listening to this, you're probably on your way to a family member's house. I mean, they might be prepping a Thanksgiving meal. God knows I would never be caught prepping a Thanksgiving meal. Not because I'm not willing.
No, your family's grateful.
Because I'm
that.
not capable.
Yeah.
And Rachel is also very
capable
and grateful that I'm not prepping.
Oh, okay.
100%.
Okay.
Both of those.
Yeah.
But we are just really glad to be back, and we're glad that you guys are listening to this. So this is just going to be an opening episode on the concept of gratitude. And gratitude is obviously something that we don't just take 1 month or 1 season or even 1 day to participate in, but it's something we should always be doing as Christians. And the reality is we get to do it all the time as Christians. I remember being younger, and my parents said a lot of great things to me growing up, but one of the things that they said was you should always be in a mindset of gratitude, especially when you might not be having a great day, you might be a little emotionally upset, you might be in your feelings or whatever you're doing, and whatever excuse you have for not feeling great is to always reflect gratitude. Whether I were to write it down, most of the time it hasn't looked like writing it down for me. It just looks like thinking about it, dwelling on it, looking around me at all the blessings that I have in my life and just stating those things in my life or maybe just in a conversation to my wife. And that usually really helps me. It obviously changes my inward disposition toward whatever situation I'm facing and saying, you know what, God's really given me a lot of blessings. He's really given me a lot of things to be thankful for. And so I really think that for me, that's been a great thing regarding gratitude. But as we talk about gratitude, what do we need to know first about gratitude in regards to intentionality with it?
Thanksgiving obviously is a good time to point our attention in that direction. I think as Christians, we're remembering, though, that gratitude is not kind of an attitude that we adopt for November and then just go on to whatever we want, but it's how we're supposed to live all the time.
Yeah.
The Apostle Paul tells us in 1 Thessalonians 5 to give thanks in all circumstances, which carries with it this idea of give thanks daily. Give thanks consistently, that not just when things are going well, not just when things are great. And so then we have this wonderful time of year in November where we focus our attention on being thankful, being grateful. And yet, if we're not careful, the busyness of the holiday season itself begins to kill our thankfulness and kill our gratitude because we're consumed with meals and events and planning and travel. And even as we're looking at Thanksgiving, we're planning for Christmas and maybe there's some financial obligations and there's some stress that comes with it. And there's just a lot of extra stuff. And so as believers, we're not going to be grateful just because our culture says this is the time of year we do it. But we're going to be grateful because that's the disposition we're supposed to live with. And so what that requires then is some of the things you mentioned that your parents were trying to teach you of, hey, you need to be disciplined in your gratitude. You can't wait for just the best moments of life to be grateful, but you have to figure out, how do I build this into my daily rhythms and my daily routines?
I see that and I hear that. And one of the responses I could potentially hear in my head is, well, what if I make then gratitude just a religious thing, Pastor Chris? Am I just making it this religious thing where I make it stale and it takes the it takes the joy and the love for gratitude out of the equation. What would you say to that?
Well, I'd say that's dumb. Like, honestly, if like you're worried about becoming legalistic in gratitude, like no,
Right.
that's not a thing. Because a true expression of gratitude recenters your attention on who God is and what God has done.
Yeah.
And so, like the discipline of being thankful actually will soften your heart and will lead you towards the Lord in deep, meaningful, personal ways, not towards just like religious observation. Because it's really forcing you to focus and reflect on what good things has God done for me? How am I experiencing those right now? Yeah. And it doesn't take, it's not like you have to have 30 minutes of gratitude to start your day. I mean, it can literally be 30 to 60 seconds of if I'm journaling, I'm just going to make sure every day I include one thing I'm grateful for, one thing I'm thankful for. If I'm driving to work and I'm praying, I'm going to thank the Lord for who he is, but also some of the good things that he's done in my life, and just really building in that discipline of I'm going to live with gratitude.
Yeah. In this idea of being disciplined, we also have to recognize that, when we're thankful and when we're trying to implement gratitude into our daily life, in the holiday season, it's wrapped around things that are great and that are blessings in our life. Would you like to speak to that at all? In particular?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it builds your gratitude because you're spending more time with family, you're spending more time with friends, you're enjoying meals together, you're doing all of those kinds of things. It also builds in, because we're gathering together, there's some times to really build in some thankfulness. And maybe even taking the personal challenge of, hey, if I'm getting together with my family that I don't see very often, I'm going to try to express to each one of them something I'm thankful for about them. Right? It doesn't have to be super formal. It doesn't have to be weird. It can just be that I'm thinking throughout the day, I'm going to build into conversation an opportunity to tell one of my sisters, one of my brother, one of my in-laws, this is what I'm grateful for about you. I appreciate that you. Calling out my nieces or nephews, like, hey, you're doing great in that area of school or sports or choir or whatever. And just as I'm kind of living with that, I'm going to show up here today and I'm going to express my gratitude. It's almost a contagious activity that's going to spread to other people in your family. And I think we would all hope that our family gatherings and our friend gatherings are encouraging and life-giving. And so, if your other choice is like, well, we're all going to get together and complain about politics and complain about sports and gripe about the weather and gripe about the family member who didn't show up, like you leave just feeling kind of drained. Yeah. But on the other hand, if you just take like, hey, these gatherings are opportunities for us just to hang out, to enjoy it, and really to express the things we're grateful for, then again, we're moving that from just cultural observation into real like spiritual participation and formation in our life and in the lives of our friends and family who are with us, whether they're believers or not.
Yeah, that's a really good point. In that same context of gratitude relating to family, how do you implement or help to teach and to lead your family or your kids in this idea of gratitude and thankfulness?
I think of two stories. So one, when our kids were little, Angie and I think it was actually probably in the summer, I'd had a day off work and we'd had one of those days where, from our perspective as parents, they had got to do whatever they wanted. Yeah. Like, it had been we're making pancakes for breakfast, and then we're going to go to the zoo, and then we're going to go to Chick-fil-A for lunch, and then we're going to go swimming in the afternoon, and then we're going to have pizza for dinner. And it was just like the ultimate kid day. And that night, probably at like 7:30 or 8, one of them asked, hey, can we watch a movie? Now, we knew it'd been a long day. They were tired. We need to get them to bed on time. And so we said, no, it's a little late. We're not going to do that. I don't remember which kid it was, but one of them had a total meltdown and said the words, we never get to do anything fun. And for Angie and I, we kind of looked at each other and laughed, and then immediately just like corrected the behavior of, hey, actually, so today it started with pancakes and we went to the zoo, and then you went to Chick-fil-A, and then you went swimming, and then we had pizza for dinner. Like, all you've done today is have fun. But it helped us realize, like, thankfulness and gratitude are not the natural disposition of anyone's heart. Like we all have a natural, I mean, and psychologists have done studies, and adults particularly, we have a negativity bias where if we have 10 positive experiences and one negative experience, it's the negative experience that we dwell on, that we talk about, that we think about first and last every day. And it just overwhelms the positive. And so for us, we decided that exact day of every night when we put our kids to bed, we're going to ask them, what's one thing you're thankful for? And what's one thing you want us to pray with you about? Because we already had a routine of we're going to read a Bible story, we're going to pray for you, but we wanted them to start turning their attention back to, here's some good things that happened today. And then Angie and I would do that with them. Now, when they became teenagers, we didn't do that as much because they stayed up later than we did. Yeah. So that was a little more difficult. But still, we try to build that in occasionally around a dinner table. When it's somebody's birthday in our family, we make everyone say, hey, here's 2 or 3 things I'm thankful for about you that you do. And so just kind of trying to incorporate those in. The other thing I think of is when I was in college, I played on our basketball team, and we had to go to California for a Thanksgiving tournament. So we were all away from our families, but one of our teammates, we were playing in his hometown. So his aunts and uncles, grandma and grandpa, they hosted us for a Thanksgiving dinner. And so there's, 12 or so of us college guys. And at the end of the Thanksgiving dinner, his grandma told us that we were going to play a thankfulness game, which, we were polite, so we were going along with it. But there was also probably some internal eye rolls of like, oh, great. Yeah. My family doesn't do this. Your family, But so there were 12 of us. They had a pretty big family. There were probably 20 to 30 people there. And she said, we're going to start with the first one. And you start with the first letter of the alphabet with A. You have to say something that starts with an A in your life that's meaningful to you and you're thankful for. And then you just went through the whole alphabet all around the room. When you finished, you got, it was a good 30-minute
Let's say 20 or 30 people. That's a lot.
But what I enjoyed about it, and especially looking back, really enjoy about it, was it really forced you to think deeply about your life and what you were grateful for. Because pretty quickly you run out of I'm thankful for my friends, my family, for God, for my house, and you really had to kind of dive a little bit deeper. And so sometimes it's even just silly practices or routines like that where you're just saying, hey, in our family, we're going to be grateful. We're going to practice what Paul tells us of, hey, whatever things are good and lovely and noble, we're going to think on these things and dwell on these things and celebrate these things and talk about these things, because there's plenty of negativity out there. So we're going to find ways to be intentionally grateful for who God is and what God has done.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to what we had talked about in our first session in Chapel Chat, just regarding parenting. Do you think a lot of that is just implementing your own gratitude for life and for the things God's given you, and then your kids seeing that and reflecting that in their own life? Do you think that kind of, as that billows out of your own life naturally, your kids pick up on that and then they take it and then run with it as well? Or do you think it's more of something that has to directly be taught, something that has to directly be informed to a child, rather than them just kind of seeing this gratitude spill out of you?
I think gratitude is something that's important for your kids to see in you. Yeah. But it's also something you have to teach them how to do. Yeah. And so again, that negativity bias is a real thing. Yeah. And almost all of our default position is, what went wrong today? What don't I have? What challenges am I facing? Mm-hmm. It's not, man, God has been so good and so kind and provided in so many ways. Right. And so, it's good for your kids to observe it in you. But I think there has to be times where you're teaching them, this is how you express gratitude, right? Mm-hmm. And that goes from little things like thankfuls at night, to teaching them to write thank you cards to people who've done nice things for them, to teaching them to call out the good things they see in the world. But one of the things that I do think a parent can do that you hope your kids kind of pick up on is teaching them this principle that almost every headache and hassle we face in life is in some way connected, most often, to a blessing from God. So as you go into the holiday season, sometimes you're stressed out about, we got to go here with this family, we got to go there for that meal, we got to prepare this, we got to host these people, we got to clean our house, we got to travel, we got to fly, we got to drive, we got to buy gifts, all of these things. And it can become a significant source of stress. But if you stop and really look at it, the stress of each one of those is the result of God's blessing in your life.
Right.
The reason it's stressful to go see my family is because God's blessed me with a family that I get to go see, right? The reason that gifts are stressful is I get to buy gifts for a lot of people that I really love and care about. The headaches and hassles of cleaning your house and hosting people. Well, thank God we have this ability and can do this for it. And so even with our kids, and not just around the holidays, but when your car breaks down, well, hey, we have a car. Right. And we have the ability to fix it. And so we did not want to spend that money, but God blessed us and God provided. Your kids, when they're stressed in college about senior papers and getting engaged and all these other sorts of things. Well, hey, those are fine. But at their core, they're blessings.
Right.
Like you're pursuing God's calling. He's provided for you to go to school. He's brought you into this relationship, all of this. And so really trying to reframe, like, there are headaches, there are hassles. Those are real things and we have to deal with it. But underlying most of them is a blessing from God. And we don't want the stress of the event to detract us from the blessing of the relationship or the opportunity.
Rapid fire. For this rapid fire segment, we are going to be listing common Thanksgiving dishes, or maybe not so common Thanksgiving dishes. And we're going to give the opportunity for Pastor Chris and myself to rate them. Would we eat them or not? Would we indulge in them?
Turkey.
No.
Turkey.
I don't like turkey.
The big turkey industry is the big Thanksgiving scam.
Yeah.
Like it's
dry.
It's dry. It's not good.
Bland.
You don't eat it any other time of year. You only eat it as lunch meat. If it's a deep fried turkey, I'll eat a little bit more of it.
I've never had deep fried turkey.
It's pretty good.
Same as like chicken.
Not as good.
Okay.
Ham.
Yeah, ham's a good replacement.
Yeah, if I have to eat ham or turkey, I'll take ham.
More juicy?
Yeah, it's better. With
a
some
little
pineapple,
honey glaze?
Pineapple, honey glaze, yeah, something like that.
I love ham.
A smoked ham.
What really makes ham good for me, though, is I take the ham and I dip it in cheesy potatoes, which I think, actually, that's a dish we're getting to. I'm sorry for
You're jumping
blue-lighting
ahead.
that. Yeah, that's my bad.
Yep.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, mashed potatoes is great.
Mashed potatoes, if there's gravy. If there's no gravy, get that out of here.
I could take mashed potatoes with butter, though. Like if you slap some butter on top of the mashed potatoes.
Tell me you're a white kid from Minnesota without telling me you're a white kid from Minnesota.
All you need.
I'll eat plain mashed potatoes.
All you need is butter.
That's ridiculous.
Salt and pepper. That's all you need.
You need gravy.
Green bean casserole.
Absolutely.
Love that stuff.
1,000%.
Love that stuff. I thought you were about to say absolutely not. I'm like,
no, I love green bean casserole.
I love that stuff.
It is kind of a funeral dish too.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, that's a pretty standard funeral fare.
We're talking about like there's usually some like crusted like flake things on top of it.
The like fried onions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that
If
stuff.
you're stuck with mashed potatoes and no gravy, you can put the green bean casserole on top of your potatoes as substitute gravy.
Okay, I mean it kind of helps suffice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Cranberry sauce.
Hard no.
I've never had that.
Yeah,
What does it taste like?
I put it off with the turkey and get it out of my Thanksgiving.
Sweet potato casserole.
Another one, I don't know if I've had that.
Again,
like
tell
sweet
me
potatoes.
you're from Minnesota without telling me you're from Minnesota. What? All these good, delicious, savory foods? I've never tried them. We just eat plain potatoes.
There were a lot
and dry
of
turkey.
There were a lot of culinary dishes that I got
Titus, what are your
introduced
favorite
to.
spices? Salt and pepper. Come on, get out of here. Yes, absolutely. That's incredible.
I've never had that.
Put the marshmallows
I've
on
never
top
had
of it.
that.
It's borderline dessert.
Listen, hey, if you're from the upper Midwest and you're kind of
We're sorry you've never had a good
experience,
Thanksgiving.
drop a comment in below and help me out here because I've never had
Find some
of
friends
these
who
dishes.
grew up south of Nebraska.
Dinner rolls or cornbread.
Both, please.
Dinner rolls, I like both, but I would rather see dinner rolls.
The
because,
dinner roll's a more traditional Thanksgiving.
yeah,
than
and
cornbread.
I like the texture. It's kind of
Yeah.
a texture thing for me too. Like sometimes that's how food is.
Preferably the Hawaiian King rolls.
Yeah, those are
Those
good.
are the
Pumpkin pie versus pecan pie versus apple pie.
Okay, say
for Thanksgiving specifically. Pumpkin
Apple
pie
pie.
overall. No, get out of here.
Deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs are something I have grown to enjoy as an adult. Like I really like them now, and I'll probably eat too many of them.
Yeah.
I've got a sister-in-law who makes incredible deviled eggs.
that's actually been my
Jessica Councilman, we're counting on those.
that's been my story too, actually, because I never liked deviled eggs growing up. I didn't even like them through college, and just in the last year, I've seen it at like family functions or whatever, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll try that. It's actually pretty good.
Salad of any kind.
Yeah, just cake it and dressing.
I mean,
That's all you got to do.
I probably do need a little bit of salad at Thanksgiving. You need the roughage for some digestion.
It also is like putting the salad on the plate and then eating it first. It's like kind of like that like first little level that you can clear to then make yourself feel better about eating the rest of the stuff.
What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Cheesy potatoes. Cheesy potatoes, 100%. It does not get better than putting a bunch of cheese on a bunch of potatoes, preferably hash browns. It's the best thing. You put some sour cream in there as well. It's the best.
To me, the Thanksgiving meal can't be separated. Like there are so many things that have to be there for it to be really good. But if I had to pick one, it's pumpkin pie. If there's no pumpkin pie, it's not Thanksgiving.
Wow. We have a lot of blessings. A lot of us listening to this are blessed with a lot materialistically, but also in a sense of family and in a sense of community. And so really the holidays are an opportunity to indulge or to participate in these things. And yet when we find reasons or we find ways to be not thankful for specific things in our life, despite all of this, it almost forces us to look inside and notice really the problem of sin, that no matter what we have, no matter what we want to try to pursue here on this earth and gather together for ourselves, there's always going to be something that we want or that we desire, that we wish that we had. And really, I think gratitude in a lot of ways, I don't know if you'd agree, is pointing back to Jesus ultimately, and that gratitude for what he did on the cross as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And learning to live with contentment of, the fact that I don't have everything doesn't mean I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Like, there's always going to be spaces of lack and things I wish were different, but that doesn't erase all the good things God has done. And so, Paul tells us that he's learned the secret of being content in every circumstance, and it's the presence of Jesus Christ in him, that he can do all things through Christ who strengthens him. He's the one who tells us godliness with contentment is great gain. And if you can be content, you're going to be grateful. And when you're grateful, you're going to be more content. And it also then makes me think of, just kind of making that personal decision of, I'm not going to be a default whiner.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a default complainer. I can't count the number of times my parents as a kid quoted Philippians 2:14 to me of do all things without complaining or arguing. I don't know. I think they were trying to make it my life verse. But it was really helpful, and then even as we think about, well, how do I live with gratitude? Part of living with gratitude as you grow and mature is learning to say no. I don't have to be at every event. I don't have to go to every activity. I don't have to do all this stuff all the time. And in combination of saying no to some of those is also the opportunity but I can build new traditions into my family,
right,
where we can really make sure we're reflecting, we're expressing our gratitude, and we're not running ourselves so ragged that we don't have any thankfulness.
Yeah, we have to really buck up against that idea of more is always better. I mean, that's an idea I'm constantly, trying to eliminate from my own mind, because I will often think, no matter what the situation or the circumstance, well, it's just another meeting, or it's just another gathering together with friends. But even if it's all good and it's all fun, at some point it's going to totally deplete you again. I think it's just like a general principle that at some point, the extra thing is not enough to satisfy you. The extra thing is not going to bring any sort of peace or fulfillment, and choosing to do the right things. And like you said, like building in some of those new traditions with your new family. I mean, that's something I'm really looking forward to and getting excited to start is, as Rachel and I step into this season of parenthood, is what new traditions are we going to create for our own family? And naturally from that, other things are going to have to go away. And that's okay, because we can be grateful for the moments that we get to spend with each other, especially in the sense of family and of friends and
Absolutely.
Church community too.
Yep.
Is there anything else on this that you would like to say as one last admonishment in this?
I think just very simply, we all always have something to be grateful for. And gratitude and hardship are not exclusive. You can be going through intensely difficult seasons of life and still find ways to express gratitude, that God is with you, that the Holy Spirit is speaking to you, that the scriptures are relevant to your life, that he's planted you in a community. Our circumstances aren't the only source of our thankfulness.
Yeah.
But God's presence, God's reality of being with us is always there and underlies that. So what that means then is we never get to excuse ourselves from a life of thankfulness and gratitude of, even when I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil because you're with me. And because you're with me, I can express gratitude in that moment, in that season.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Pastor Chris. Appreciate you guys joining us for Chapel Chat on this episode of gratitude as we lead up to Thanksgiving. And if there's something specifically that you're walking through or that you'd like a question about, we'd love to reach out to you and to answer that question. You can drop a comment, you can message us on whatever platform you're watching this on. But just as a final charge, I really like the scripture that Pastor Chris used at 1 Thessalonians 5, where we need to really understand in all circumstances we're commanded to be thankful for the things that God's given us in life. And so this week, like we discussed, there's a myriad of different ways that you can show gratitude or that you can just simply sit and reflect. We challenge you to do that this week, whether you do it with your family or maybe you just want to start on your own. A journal is a great way to start. Or if you don't love writing and you don't have a journal, you could just say it to yourself in an open room, whatever that looks like for you. In some way, reflecting on the things God's given us in this season is always an amazing thing to do. So we thank you so much for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time on Chapel Chat.